Warm welcome to today's episode of Video Talks podcast, hosted by us here at Quick Channel with me, Carl Waldmark, your host, here today. With me today, I have Ida Sjöberg-Dahlgren here, who is the CEO of Mbrace. Warm welcome, Ida.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's cold in Stockholm, so it's nice to be in here, warm studio.
Yes, and we brought the fireplace with us.
That's great.
Warming it up. Actually, this morning when I woke up, it was negative 20.
Oh my God.
On the thermometer outside my house.
Yeah.
So this is warm and welcoming here with the fireplace. Awesome to have you here. Really excited to have this conversation with you today. For listeners who might not know about you and Mbrace, can you first introduce yourself and what is Mbrace?
Yeah. Well, as you said, I'm the CEO of Mbrace, and my background is I'm as a producer for video and TV production. And Mbrace, we're a production company, and we focus on producing video production and live streams for government agencies and companies.
Yeah. And you're based here in Stockholm?
Yes, we're based in Stockholm, in Nacka.
Do you do work outside of Stockholm, or are you primarily focusing on the Stockholm area?
I would say our day-to-day business is here in Stockholm, but we do business outside of Stockholm and also outside of Sweden. So we go wherever the job takes us.
Cool. What is your personal sort of story when it comes to video production, and how did you eventually become the CEO of Mbrace?
Well, I started with film and TV in high school. So I started studying that in high school. And I continued the studies after high school and ended up at a production company in Washington D.C. where I worked first as an editor and then eventually as a producer.
Wow.
So it's kind of, I started at 16 years old and I just kind of followed that path. Until I came to Mbrace, and I started there as a producer as well. And then eventually I was asked to be CEO, and I said yes. So that's
How long have you been with the company for now?
I've been at Mbrace since 2018.
And the CEO for?
I started as a CEO, you can say like internally in 2020. We had sort of a test year to see, because Marcus, who is the founder and he was the CEO at the time, he was going to stay in the company. So we wanted this kind of trial year. Does like this new partnership, does it work? Do I want to continue being the CEO? Does he want me to continue being the CEO? So that was like 2020 was like the trial year, but I was doing all of the work as a CEO. And then after a year, we kind of both felt like we made it. Okay, yes, we both want to continue on this. And then we did the official paperwork. Yeah.
Are you very hands-on as a CEO, or like are you still in the weeds of the video productions at the company?
Yeah, I would say I'm a pretty operative and hands-on CEO. Much less, of course, when I was a producer. But I still have some of my own clients, and I still go out on productions. During high seasons, I'm out every week. And during low seasons, I focus on kind of more strategic work.
Speaking of strategic work, I'm very keen and interested to hear your sort of angle and perspective of the state of video production today. To sort of give the listeners a strategic snapshot of what are you hearing out there, and how can we interpret this in terms of the audio and video industry. So my first question is really, like, from your perspective, how has the video production industry changed over the last few years in your view?
Well, I would say there are two things that I think has contributed to the change that's been for the last few years. Social media, of course, is one, where kind of how we produce and what we produce has changed, especially in our niche, where we're working towards like companies and government agencies. So, if you just look a couple of years ago, the standard was, a format that, is the regular format, 1920 times 1080. So it's a horizontal format. And now what is the priority format? It's for social media. So it's like a standing format. So that has changed a lot. And especially when you think about how you film, all of the cameras, they are for the horizontal format. So now when we're filming, since social media is the #1 platform many times for our clients, it changes all of our framing and how we build visually the story. So I think that's a pretty big thing. And then most recently, of course, AI has come in and changed everything, I want to say. But for us, how it's changed is more that it's changed how we do it. So for us, it's been more like a tool. It changed how we create, just as when we got new editing software or when we get new cameras. And it makes it, this is a new tool, a very interesting tool, and it changed how we work. And it has also changed end product in a very visual way, because we are using AI. So I think AI and social media has changed the industry a lot in terms of what we produce, how we produce it, and the end product. Yeah.
I think also, if I may add, there's the storytelling part. A couple of weeks ago in a recent episode, I interviewed Erik Modig, who's a researcher at Stockholm School of Economics. And at our flagship event, Video Summit, he talked a lot about the frame. That now companies who produce video, they need to think about the frame, or more like, okay, how do I get my audience inside the actual frame of the video player that I'm producing, and the information that I want to sort of inform them about. Right? Do you also coach your clients a lot with this storytelling, and especially now with social media and the attention span is so low? And, you need to create the hook within 3 seconds. If you don't do that, you're out. You're not going to have the audience attention anymore. Are you also thinking a lot about that in your productions?
Yeah, I think before it was kind of like, if our clients wants the guidance, we can give it. But we're noticing how important it is, because if our clients come to us and we don't talk about that in the first initial stage, we might create a very beautiful video, but it might not reach any audience. And so then the client's goals will not be met. And so what would that video have done for them? And so, because what we do is we want to help our clients. So that's why now, since it's so important, it's always something we talk about before we even, go into the nitty-gritty of creating the video. It's like, where is this going to be? What platforms? What is the audience, target audience? And with some clients, they are very, they know a lot about this, so it's more like a partnership.
Very mature.
Yeah, and other clients is really about like, okay, first we need to talk about this. We need to have a workshop about what is happening right now on your platforms and what can we create for you. So yeah, it's so much more important now than it's ever been to talk about those kind of things, even though we are a production company. Yeah.
Where do you think the video, or based on your experience and your perspective, where do you think the video maturity is for your clients? Like from 0 to 10, or has this increased over the years, or is it more or less the same? Would you say?
It's very, because we have such a wide variety of clients, so it's all from 0 to 10, I would say. Some clients, they have a very big internal team who works on this every day, and the people who work there, their background is marketing, communication, and so they have a lot of resources in-house. But then other clients, they have 2 people, and that's the entire team. So of course they are specialists maybe in other areas, but maybe they've worked in this field for 30 years. And so then all of these new things, they're not specialists in that. But of course they have followed the trends as everyone have. But it's very different if you're like one person or two compared to like being a team of like 10 people. And a lot of people who are hired come from that kind of field. So it's a big range.
Hear some from your clients' expectations from video today. That they didn't expect before. Yeah, basically, what are clients expecting from video today, and from you guys in your seat as a producers, that they didn't expect before?
I just have to mention AI again, because there's always been the saying in production that people or the clients that they expect low budget, fast production, high quality. And we always say that's impossible. You can get 2 out of 3, but you can never get all 3. So it's kind of been a saying for a long time. And now AI comes in, and it's like all the clients like, oh, but now we can get all 3, right? Yeah. And everyone who works with this is like, no, you still can't get all of them. AI is just a tool. It doesn't give you all of those things. So I think we're kind of back, and this happens every time a new tool comes into play. We kind of go back to managing expectations, and both we and the clients, we need to kind of learn, okay, what can we do here? So I think it is really an expectation right now to get it fast, cheap, and high quality with AI, but AI is not really there yet. Maybe we go there, but right now it's not.
In terms of quality then, or?
Yeah, I would say in terms of quality and well, I would say if you want like a high quality AI film, it's going to cost money and it's going to take some time. So you can get that, but it's going to take time and cost money. If you want a fast AI production, you can do that. It can be cheap, but the quality will be low, because right now the tools, it needs iteration. So it needs time to create an output that's what you want it to be. So you can get a high quality, you just can't get it cheap and fast. So I think that's
good. Good answer. And maybe this also leads us into a good segue into the next question. So where do you see the biggest misunderstanding is happening between clients and video professionals today?
Well, I would say what I've noticed is that in the video industry, we have our like industry language, and the clients have their own industry language. And what I've noticed is like in the initial states, video professionals assume the clients understand our language. And the clients assume that we understand their language. And we're speaking Swedish, but we're not speaking the same language. And we think we are like, oh, this is what they want to do. Oh, they know what I want to do. And then people forget, especially I think video professionals forget to take their language aside and speaking like a easy language. And then everyone is assuming we know what we're going to do, and then you finish the end product and we did not understand each other. I think that's very common. And so something we at Mbrace work with is like removing that industry language, removing the technical language, and just try to speak as basic as we can. And we take that as our responsibility. And if we don't understand what the client is saying, we need to ask more questions. So I think that's a common ground for misunderstandings throughout an entire project.
So technical language barriers is how I interpret it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, a video professional is talking about a video and they start talking about format here and there and cables here and there. Like, if you don't work with it, you don't know those things. So we need to go back to basic language and try to understand, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, and then it's up to us to decide what equipment or what technical aspects will create that. So I think that's important. And then also, I think a mistake that's being made is video professionals assuming clients know what they want and assuming they know how to articulate that. Again, because most of our clients, they don't work in the video field. They work with something else. They're specialists in something else. And so they might have this idea, but our job is to flush that out. So really, okay, because I've had many times a client come to us and say, oh, this is what I want. And then we go through our questions, the basic questions, and we realize, oh, this is what you want to do, something completely different. And so I think a misunderstanding that oftentimes happens is when a client comes and says, this is what I want to do, and the video professional is just like, okay, let's do it. And then like, oh, this is not what I wanted. And that's why they come to us. So I think that's also our responsibility. That's why they come to us. It's our responsibility to kind of try to decipher what is the client's needs.
I guess this is where a really good brief comes in, right?
Yeah.
The better the brief, the better outcome. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I want to transition into like balancing business goals and creativity.
Yeah.
Because you guys are, as a video producers, you're very creative and technical people. Obviously, you're specialists in your field. But how would you say that how do you ensure that creativity at Mbrace is always connected to business objectives? So to speak, if you understand the question.
Well, I would say for Mbrace, I would say creativity is a part of our service, but it's not our entire service. So I would say sometimes it's very important with creativity, and that's really what the client is buying. But other times the client is not buying that at all. They are buying sort of a kind of like a security or like a stamp that this is going to be made in a stable way, like a stable production. And in those productions, creativity is always secondary, if that's what the client is buying. So for us, you know, our business objective is to help our clients, you know, achieve their goals with video. And so if it's creativity that we acknowledge is needed here, then that's what we will focus on. But if it's a strategy or a structure or, you know, a production that's made without any mistakes, then that's what we will focus on. And so I think, as I said, creativity is just a part of our service and a part of our business objective. So when it is the most important thing, we focus on that. When it's secondary, then it's secondary.
You usually hired for the creativity part or the more stable technical assurance part?
I would say for video production, it's oftentimes more creative. And when it comes to live streams, it's less. There is, you know, this live stream cannot go wrong. And when you're hired for that kind of production, you don't like go into on the day and be like, maybe we should just switch everything around for creativity's sake. It's gonna feel better. No, this is what we decided. Now everyone is here. We go live in an hour. We don't make any big creative changes. All changes we make are necessary ones. So
stick to the script.
Yeah, but I mean, for us, the client, they might want to change their PowerPoint, and that is crucial to not informing their audience in a manner that is wrong. So changing the PowerPoint 5 minutes before, that's a crucial thing that might seem like, oh, why change now? We're going live. But it's a crucial information part that you don't want to mess up. But all of a sudden, be like, I think we should move all of the lights around. 10 minutes into, no. Big red flag. No. So you go with what you have, and if you can make changes during, okay, fine, do it. But moving everything 5 minutes before, it's not going to happen. Only if it's like a crucial thing that affects the stability of the production. Yeah.
That's good. Going back to like this expectation error or sort of language barrier.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most common mistake companies or organizations make in video productions?
I would say the biggest mistake would be to brief us too late. Because I think like no matter what brief you have, if a client comes to us, sometimes it's just like, I want to do a video. That might be the brief. And then it's up to us to kind of like, okay, let's take a meeting, let's flush it out, what you want to do, let's figure this out together. But I would say, and that's fine. You can just come with that sentence and we can figure it out. But if you come to us and with like a brief where everything is set and there's no room for like our input in sense of, you know, I want to do this big production, but for this budget, well, that is much harder. So, because if we would have been coming in earlier in the brief, we could have kind of give some input, like, oh, you want to do that? No problem. This is what it's going to cost. Oh, okay, well, okay, let me check that out. Okay, no, that's not possible for us right now. Okay, let's look at the brief. What can we change? So for us, like, if you come with a brief and you're set and there's no room of talking with us and hearing our input, it's hard for us to deliver. But if you're open for communication and a collaboration, I think you'll get eventually then what you want.
That makes sense. And as a natural follow-up to this is, how do you handle situations where a client wants something that you know it's not going to work? It's not going to work realistically. It's out of scope or whatever it might be. You can't deliver on it.
I mean, my approach is always to be honest. Like if someone comes and say, oh, I want to do this. I mean, I get very excited if someone comes with like a great idea. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Okay. And then we start looking at the budget. And I mean, I always give a realistic budget. And then be like, oh, okay, no, this is not going to be possible. Oh, then I'm always understanding like, okay, fine, let's talk about it. What can we do? Try to find alternatives. Can we be creative? In a way so that we can still do some of it, but to a lower budget. Okay, what can we remove? So I'm always like excited to try to find a solution, but I don't believe in doing a job for free, because I mean no one does it, no company does it. So I don't believe that the video industry should do that either. So just being honest with, okay, this is what it costs to produce something like this. And if you don't have the budget, we will find another way to do something that fits with your budget, that is still great, that is still creative, but we will not fly to 10 different countries. We'll stay here in Stockholm and we'll do a green screen. So there's always, you know, again, if you're open to having that discussion with us, then we always want to find a way to create a video that you're happy with.
Speaking of budget, do you see that the video budget in organizations and companies, do you see that is that increasing? Is video getting a more share of the overall wherever that sits in the organization, or is it more or less the same as it's been in the last couple of years?
I think that's so hard to answer, like sitting on the side I'm sitting on, because I don't know like what is the full budget for like a communication client. So I don't know how they're moving that money around. But what we have noticed, of course, during like this difficult economy, external video production is an external cost. So during a difficult economy, of course, as a company, you look at the external costs and you want to minimize them. But at the same time, video has become so important. So you want to have a budget that is realistic, so you can produce all that kind of content that is now required. So it's like both. I can see that certain companies are prioritizing video, but every company is looking at their external costs during this economy. But then you know, some companies, they want to push it down to an unrealistic expectations, and I would say those companies are not clients of us because we can't deliver on that. But our clients, they, because we keep an honest conversation with them, they know, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is what it's going to cost. And I think a sort of a trend that I'm seeing is that you're choosing, because there's so much content that's you need to make. So you are prioritizing, okay, what do we put externally on a production company or an agency, and what do we do in-house? And it's kind of that prioritization that's being...
Expertise do we have in-house?
Yeah.
Which one do we lack or missing that we need to get or bring outside? Yeah, that makes sense. I want to transition into what it looks like building a successful video team. And what that looks like for you, in your words. So what does a successful video production team? What would be the dream scenario if you were to build one, either or at the client side?
For me, maybe this is like a very producer answer, but I would say like kind of everyone knowing, not knowing, everyone being secure in their role. And being able to deliver on that role. Because when you're creating video, it's a collaboration with everyone involved. And if everyone in that team feel confident in their role and what they bring to the table, and they just do it, then the teamwork becomes very in sync and very effortless. And I think it's like when you're in that kind of production, you do a production with a team like that, you feel it from start to end. And it's a lot of fun to work in that way. It gives space to actually be creative and focus on the details and raise the quality. And you always end up with a better product in the end. So, yeah.
Can you share like how you guys work to avoid burnout in your company? Because I'm sure that like your industry, like many others, it's very fast paced. There's a lot of things going on. It involves traveling and logistics, etc. with around, and that could be a time derailer, right? So how do you work with avoiding that in the company?
Well, for us, we have a pretty clear high and low seasons. And so when it's high season, we all work. Just get the job done. But during low season, we try to rest. And of course, during low season, we also try to prepare. But there's both rest and preparedness in that low season. And at Mbrace, we all have, we have all of our, 5 weeks vacation days, but we also acknowledge that it's a lot of hard work during the high season. So if someone needs an extra week here and there during low seasons, that's not something that's a problem, because we know that, okay, now it's low season, now we need to rest. So that when that high season comes, we're ready, because we know what it's going to be. Yeah,
that makes sense. I'm interested in learning about what skills do you think are becoming more important to professionals today? If we sync this back to the team and the team composition.
Well, I think it's become very important to understand the target audience for the clients and where they are going to publish this. So understanding social media, the platforms, and now also AI, all of that is becoming important for video professionals, even though we're used to being oh, I just need to understand my camera. How we're being hired as a very full and in its entirety. So oftentimes we're not just being hired to just stand in front of the camera. Yeah.
Event.
Exactly. Yeah. And even if you are someone who is just hired to film, today you do need to understand, okay, where is this going? Because it affects how you're going to film it. In a way that before you could distance yourself a little bit more from those things and still do a good job. But if you don't know that on social media, to make a good film right now, everything needs to be centered, and you film what most of us were taught in another framing way. It's not going to look good when the client gets it. Yeah. So I think that understanding the platforms that are now like taking over video, the framing for that and how it affects your craft. I think that's important for video professionals, and also just following the trend now with AI and seeing how that affects the products that we deliver.
So you basically need to stay top of mind when it comes to the social media algorithms and formats, aspect ratio updates, etc. And then also like AI, how is this affecting us in the video production, maybe pre-production, during production and post-production, right?
Yeah. And also how can it benefit us?
Is it as an advantage?
Yeah.
Want to transition into also leadership and scaling the company. So what has been the biggest personal shift for you when CEO role, if you compare that to your previous production role?
I think what I noticed kind of like early on in this role is that I needed to kind of like do a lot of personal development, focus on myself, because I noticed like a lot at least in the size of company that we have, a lot as a CEO is like you're leading other people and you're helping other people be good in their jobs. And I noticed like it's hard to do that well if I haven't dealt with my personal development. So I did a lot of that. I focused a lot on myself and...
How did you do that, if I may ask? Like practically, did you like take a training or a course? Or?
Yeah, I did. I took a course, it's a coach course with focus on like being a coach in the business area. And that was really, really good. And I did it very early on. I did that already in 2020, and it went over. It took a while. It was a long course, so it went into 2021. But I think that was crucial for me because it was both like personal development, focusing on you, but also then focusing on how to become a good coach. That was very, very important. I think also I could have done it probably without, but it would have been much more of a struggle and hard, and not as fun, because as a leader you're dealing with people and there are triggers all around you, and if you haven't looked at those triggers and kind of worked through those, it's hard to help someone who is triggering you. But your job is to be their leader and help them. So kind of being able to work through that and then kind of see past that and find a way to coach that person. And I think that would have been very hard if I hadn't done that course.
That's insightful. If we transition into the scaling aspect, what would you say is the hardest part about scaling a creative company like yours?
I think this goes for any company that you want to scale. It's all about like the people, right? The people you have around you.
Because you're also a services company in that sense.
Yeah.
So you're very dependent on the people.
Yeah. So I mean, we can have the best strategy ever, the best pricing ever, but if we have people who are not the best fit, and then they are the ones who go out and do the job, then all of that. It doesn't really matter, because at the end is for what we do is people doing the job together with other people, and so it needs to be a match with what we stand for.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you maintain quality and culture as the company grows? We talk a lot about our culture here at Quick Channel. How can we improve it? How can we get more people to feel included and involved in developing our culture and the values that we all stand behind, etc. Can you share a little bit how you think about that?
Well, I think, first it starts with like the recruitments. Like, how do you recruit people? How do you onboard people? Like, I think that's very important. And then as you grow, you can see how internal communication becomes more important. Because internal communications when you're 5, we meet by a table and we sit down and we talk it out. Internal communication when you're 500, well, we can't all sit every week by the table. So how do we do that? But if you have great internal communication, but you haven't done your job in the recruitment, in the onboarding, then it can still fall short. So I think that together is necessary.
I want to transition into women in male-dominated AV industry, and you're obviously a woman. You're still a woman. You're CEO of the company, Mbrace. The AV and video production industry is still, like today, very heavily male-dominated. I'm sure that you experience this. What has that been for you personally?
Well, I think, I mean, as I started with this, I started studying film and TV when I was like 16, and I've just continued. And since the first, like from the start, even when you're looking at classes, women has been the minority in the classes. So it's just been like a reality, like it's something that's been part of my entire career. Even like when I studied in the States, most of productions, maybe we were like, if we were 20 people, maybe we were 2 to 3 women on set. So it's just been part of the career and the job. It's just been part of the job. That's how it is, you know.
Have you experienced situations where you felt underestimated or challenged just because of your gender, being a woman?
I mean, it's hard to kind of say if it's because I'm a woman, but of course, I've been challenged, of course I've been underestimated, and rarely by women, other women. Often it's been another man, of course. So I can't speak for them why they underestimated me or why they challenged me. But of course, I've been, yeah.
What strengths do you think women can bring to the leadership role in your industry? Maybe men can't, or can you? Do you see that you're effective sometimes? Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a reason why everyone is talking about diversity in teams, because all of the studies that people have done on this shows that when you have a diverse team, you have better results. And that's not only like women, men, that goes for like all of the diversity. So I think I can't speak for all women, like this is what we bring, but I know that if you have a diverse team, it will give you better results. And women are a part of that.
What advice would you give to young women entering the video industry?
I would say learn and focus on the craft, because it's a craft that we do. And I think many times what I've seen is that we kind of fall into stereotypes. So women are good, they're structured, they're good at planning. You know, that's a stereotype. So oftentimes women end up going into that part in the production, the planning part, the being structured part of the production, and men tends to fall into like the technical areas. And I would say like most of us, I think, at least the people I have talked to, most of the people who go into video production, we go into it because it's a creative field and we are creative people. And yes, we might be good at planning, but we are creative people as well. And I think we have a lot to bring to the table in terms of creative roles as well. So I would say, I would say to anyone who's just starting out and who is a woman, like don't forget the craft, because you went on this path probably because you're good at that, and probably because you are also creative.
Do you see more women in the industry like within recent years compared to before? More or less the same, that it's quite male dominated?
I mean, I can only speak from like the little network or the little group that works in the niche that I'm active in, and I would say it's somewhat similar. But again, this is maybe like comparing the last 10 years. And so, of course, I think if you compare it maybe 20 years ago, I think it maybe look different than it does now. So it's hard for me because I wasn't in the industry 20 years ago. Yeah.
That makes sense. I want to end with a note and discuss the future of video communications, right? So what excites you the most about the future, or maybe some trends that are happening for video communication?
Well, I mean, I am very excited about AI, even though it is going in and trying to take jobs.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's very exciting to see. We have focused a lot on AI at Mbrace, and it's just super exciting to see what we can create.
Any like growth hacks that you have enabled already with using AI?
Something that we have done, and this is all credit to Jack, my coworker, who is like at the forefront with AI at Mbrace. He has really like dive into this, and something that he shared with me is, working with an AI assistant or an AI software to become your script assistant. I think that's super exciting. So he kind of works with his AI and have been teaching his AI to write scripts with him in the way he wants to write them. So you can create this tonality that is Jack, because he has his own way of writing, his own way of creating scripts. It's very like, I mean, you can tell when he's written a script, and now he's kind of teaching this AI to be his assistant to help him keep writing these scripts. And I think that's very exciting, because if you just go into like ChatGPT right now and you're like, hey, write me a script. Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, it's like all the stereotypes, and it's just, I just laugh when I read it. Yeah. But then I read what he's created together with AI, and it's super interesting, and that excites me. Like, how can we kind of evolve with this? Yeah. That excites me. Yeah.
Cool. Are there any trends that you think are like overhyped or maybe underestimated right now?
I don't know. I think.
So AI is not overhyped.
Well, yeah, maybe it's overhyped in the way, as I talked about it before, that people think that it can make miracles, in a sense. That's not where it's right now. So in that sense, maybe it's overhyped in what it can create in terms of video production. But if we can see it as a tool, then I don't think it's overhyped. Then I think it's super exciting, and the opportunities are very big.
You were starting your career today in video. What would you focus on first, or what would you do differently maybe compared to what you did 10 plus years ago?
Well, I think I would take the same advice as I gave before, like focus on the craft. Because I started in photography, and I was very like hands-on the craft in the beginning, and then I was one of those who like, oh, you're good at planning, you're good at structure. Whoop, here, focus on that. And then I did a lot of productions where, of course, I became really good at producing, which is great, and I love to produce. But what I noticed when later on I started coming back to the craft. And that's when I really, that's when I could level up as a producer, like really being hands-on, understanding the craft, keep evolving with the craft and the technology as I keep evolving as a producer. And that's something I started doing when I started working. So I think like if I would do this again, I would keep my hands on a camera throughout my studies and not forget that part. together with evolving as a producer and everything that goes into that role.
If we look onward a little bit more, like as an outlook, is there what's if there is one, is there a mind shift you think video professionals have to make in the upcoming years to stay relevant, like AI, etc.? What does this demand in the role for video professionals to stay relevant in the future?
Well, I think to stay relevant, I mean, it's all based on your, like, what you're doing in video and what clients you're working with. So, I mean, I would say for us, it's about being like curious and open to what do the clients want and what are they like looking at and what's their like evolution or their development, and kind of following that. I think that's what Mbrace always done. We don't try to like determine this is the trend and this is what we're going to do. We're always trying to be in sync with the client, okay, and listening in. Okay, the clients, they are asking for AI. Is that something we should do? The clients are asking for, during COVID, the clients are asking for a studio. Okay, should we have a studio? So I think that's, I mean, to stay relevant, you need to listen to the customers.
The market.
Yeah, in the market, yeah.
That makes sense. Final question that I always ask my interviewees. Who do you think I should interview next on this Video Talks podcast?
So I don't have a name for you, but I think it would be super exciting if you would interview sort of like an in-house producer or video person at a, you know, government agency that has taken on video and that are developing video and maybe are at the forefront. It would be very interesting to hear from them what they're doing and how they are staying like on top of video.
Hunt some people down.
Yeah.
I promise you I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this conversation with you, Ida. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching or listening, whatever you're doing it. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.